everybody. This is Jeff. I'm here with Scott Margolius, and Scott is the founder and runs a website called feedbackrepair.com, right?
That's right.
And Scott works on helping sellers remove negative feedback, right? So a lot of people are afraid of getting negative feedback, but there's certain negative feedback that's really easy to remove, right? So let's start with seller feedback, and what type of seller feedback is the easiest to remove, and what's the simple process for removing that?
The ones that you want to see the most are the easiest to approach, are the 5 that Amazon says feedback can be removed for. So whether that's language, whether that's a product review, those are pretty much no-brainers. And Amazon's actually improved the system and made it easier for sellers to be able to remove their own feedback simply by finding the negatives that they come across and then submitting those. And a lot of the time, those will be removed automatically.
Right. Now, if I'm an FBA seller,
okay,
and I get a seller feedback because my package didn't arrive on time, will Amazon remove that?
Sure, absolutely, and that's one of the other top 3, I would say, of the ones that are easiest to remove.
Yep.
And so I recommend all of my clients use FBA, and there's some cases where that might not make as much sense.
Right.
But most of the time, it's one of the best and easiest ways to protect your account, and some of that ties back to the fact that it's pretty easy to get negative feedback removed if it's an FBA transaction, and Amazon will take responsibility for that.
Right, and I'll throw a little plug in here since it's on our own blog. If you're using Merchant Fulfilled, you can also target your emails to only products that were delivered within X number of time, so that if it was delivered outside of the delivery window by which you processed, you reduce soliciting feedback from those customers. So that's another way that you can kind of reduce the feedback from even coming in if you're doing Merchant Fulfilled. Okay, so
if I might add to that, the settings that you've provided through Feedback Genius to allow that type of granular selection, that can only come from your having listened to your clients, for them saying, this is something that would help me. That to me is an obvious response to a customer request.
Yep.
And so you've gone through and made the services that you're offering even more valuable when you can go in at that level and start to tweak and change the automated setup or the automated templates. I encourage all my customers to do that. Some of them, they come to me and they have me help them get as personal as possible with the templates that you've provided.
Right.
But at that level, when you can begin to do that, it gets even better. The more personal you are with the customer, the better the templates. The more they sound like you as the seller.
Right.
You provide all of that. You've got the format and the formula for that.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you want to be as personal in your email as possible, right? You don't want to come off all robotic. Oh, I just did the robot on the camera. Okay, so you're not one of the top 3. You're not one of the top 5. You've got a 1-star seller feedback. Can I do anything about it?
Top 3 or top 5 for?
You said there were 3 to 5 things that Amazon will remove on their own, but somebody is just not happy, right?
Sure. The
customer is not happy. They give me a 1 or a 2-star review, seller feedback. Is there anything I can do to have that removed?
Absolutely, and all the time, and more than just those 5. Those 5 are the tip of the iceberg that you can have it removed for. The indication would be, the belief would be that you can't have them removed for things that aren't in the top 5, and if you try, sometimes you'll get a response that says, this isn't one of the things that we say in our criteria is removable for. But you can have all kinds of feedback removed all the time that has nothing to do with the top 5. Those just happen to be the easiest.
Gotcha. So the first thing I should do if I get negative feedback is just kind of solicit it back to Amazon and ask them if I can get it removed. Let them tell me no before I try any other.
Absolutely. That's the best, the fastest, the easiest way. It doesn't involve any kind of customer interaction.
Amazon tells me no. Now what do I have to do?
It depends on what the situation is. In some cases, the best thing to do is to try again, maybe with a different argument or a better argument.
So do I want to reach out to the customer at any point?
That can make sense in a lot of different situations. I think it's always custom to the situation. It's important for you as the seller to own that and know what it is exactly that caused the situation to occur, what it was that that customer was expecting. It's up to you to evaluate how that happened. It's up to you to set customer expectations. At any point in time when you're reviewing all the feedback that's coming in, it's not just about soliciting new feedback and adding to that total. It's about analyzing the feedback that you're getting.
Right. So I get a negative feedback. I might want to reach out to my customer. I might want to empathize with my customer, try to find out what their problem is, try to find out if there's a way for me to actually solve their problem.
Absolutely.
Do I want to actually ask them to remove the feedback?
No, you don't want to ask them to remove it. That, in fact, can be considered very easily a violation of the terms of service. And so you have to approach it a little bit differently than that.
So it's kind of a soft wording, kind of like
It's a soft
if you're
approach.
happy with how I've resolved this problem, please leave me feedback.
You might not get in trouble for asking.
Yeah.
I think that there are just better ways to do it than to outright ask.
Gotcha. So that's kind of seller feedback. Is there anything you can do if you get a negative product review?
If you're a private label seller and you're concerned about the reviews that are coming through for that product, there are approximately 6 different things that you can do that help mitigate the negativity or the problems that can be caused from that negative product review. And so the difficulty becomes in saying, oh, I can get that removed. The likelihood of a removal isn't that great, and even though I've seen them removed before, you're never going to say, I'm going to get that removed, because it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But there are different approaches that you can take, and your notification system for when a negative comes through, a negative product review, incredibly helpful, because in some cases, especially if you've got high velocity, you want to respond to that as quickly as possible. You want to jump in the stream and correct the issue.
And typically, if you're getting a negative product review, there's something wrong with the product, and you should listen to the customer and figure out if they might be right.
There might not be anything wrong with the product. The product might be fine. There could be something wrong with your listing. You didn't do a good enough job of adequately taking care of the customer anticipation of what they were going to receive. You didn't do a good enough job of describing the product, of the bullet points, of the photos. Something else might be wrong that might not have to do with the product itself.
But I need to ask questions, I need to listen, and then I need to figure out what I need to do to improve.
You need to own it and evaluate in every situation. For every buyer, it might be different. You could have a whole series of buyers that are looking at your product for one purpose. Maybe they're buying it for a specific purpose that it wasn't intended for.
Right.
Maybe it's a packaging problem. There's so many different issues. As long as you take ownership of it, you're going to have a better chance of solving.
Great. And and I'm guessing it's also a violation. I happen to know the answer. I'm just setting you up for it, but it's a violation to ask for a product review to be removed too, right?
That's correct. That's not a position that I would want to suggest somebody to take that approach.
So you cannot go and ask somebody, please change their review, please remove your review. But you can handle it from a customer service perspective and make them happy. Maybe you need to consider offering them a refund or something of that nature, a replacement, if there was maybe something wrong with the product or it wasn't as described.
It's a soft approach. So sellers can ask to have a review modified if the buyer has a different opinion the next time that they look at that same product. So let's say they received the product and they were unhappy with it for whatever reason. Maybe it had nothing to do with the product. Maybe it was a shipping issue, whatever, but they still left a negative product review. You could send them a replacement to get a more authentic review. And if they have a different opinion when they had an opportunity to actually use the product that they were hoping to see the first time, maybe they have a genuinely different opinion.
Great. This is Scott Margolius. He's with Feedback Repair. I think one of the last kind of pieces we'll add to this is, sometimes the process of actually repairing your feedback can be time consuming. So that is a service that you offer, and it's one that we've recommended to our clients in the past if it's not something they want to do on their own. We also have a PDF that was co-written by Scott on how to manage negative reviews and how to deal with them. That's kind of a little bit of a DIY type product that offers a little bit of the tips and solutions, and links below. So thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Yep. Hey, thank you very much.